Wow, it is a beautiful day, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Athens. This is Reverend Bronte Colbert, wishing us all a beautiful day. That's one of my all-time favorite songs by Debbie Schroet, amazing musician, composer, and vocalist. I'd love to hear that again. Kevin's here with me today, Kevin Thompson, our sound tech. Kevin, would you play that again, please? Maybe even a little bit louder, and we can just sing along. It's a beautiful day indeed. Good morning, everyone. Check in if you'd like or send up a heart. You're at Unity Athens live stream for Sunday, June 14th, 2020. We're so glad you're with us this morning. Music is by Debbie Schroet. Her website is debbieschroet.com. Again, good morning and welcome to Unity Athens. We are so glad you're with us this morning. For our opening prayer, we have a prayer that's been written, comprised, composed, spoken from the heart by our wonderful prayer chaplain, trainer, coordinator, and LUT student. That's a list. Peggy Olson. So if you would, quiet yourself as we have our prayer from Peggy. Take a breath, relax.
Now let us turn our minds and hearts to the Holy Divine Christ Spirit within. We attune ourselves as we open our hearts and minds to presence, to light and love. We raise our beings and consciousness to be filled with understanding and compassion, to be heart-centered. We feel the one presence and the one power spreading out from within us as we send healing thoughts, comforting thoughts, and love to all humankind, to all beings and creatures, to touch all hearts and situations wherever it seems that pain, hurt, and brokenness lies. May we realize healing and wholeness surrounding us and all the ones we love, all the ones we see and hear and think of. May we represent forgiveness and grace as we beam our love into our world. As we realize joy, serenity, and peace, as we stand in faith and believe that we are well, believe that we are blessed, so very blessed. We are grateful, Holy Divine Mind, for the light of truth, one power and one presence, divine love. We release this prayer now in gratefulness. So be it, and so it is. Amen.
What a wonderful prayer. What beautiful words. Thank you so much, Peggy. What a perfect way to center ourselves in our constant connection with Spirit on this truly beautiful day. Our daily word for today, and you can always read these free online at dailyword.com. For today, Sunday, June 14, it is divine order. Divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. As spring ripens into summer each year, new leaves transform bare trees into canopies of green. Tiny seedlings grow into sturdy plants and decorate the landscape with an array of colorful blossoms. I marvel at the divine order demonstrated as the earth renews itself. I recognize that, even as the earth appeared barren in wintertime, new life was preparing to spring forth. I notice this pattern in my life. I may be demonstrating visible growth in my life, or, like the earth in winter, it may seem that my life is stagnant or barren. I remember that as the seasons of nature change, so do the seasons of my life. Even when it is not apparent to me, I know that divine order is always unfolding in my life and in my world. And from Mark 4, verse 28, the earth produces of itself first the stalk, then the head, then the full grain in the head. And again, the phrase for today is divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. Perhaps you'd like to say that with us. Divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. One more time. Divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. There we go. Kevin had to help. We had a technical difficulty for a moment. And good morning. Hi, good morning, Unity Athens and all our friends. And Kevin, if you get the lights that we've turned off for the prayer, that would be great. Do you know we've been doing this for, I believe, 11 Sundays now? And believe it or not, we still have a little glitch here and there, or something that we need to work through. Because why? Because that's what life is all about. Indeed. We're so glad you're joining us this morning at Unity Athens here in Athens, Georgia. Yes, our doors have been closed for a while, but you know what? Church, this spiritual center, is never closed. You're always in our hearts and in our prayers, and as we gather together in consciousness, whether that's through a Zoom class or a Facebook Live presentation like this, we're always together in our hearts, and that is the important thing. So if you would, perhaps take a moment now, and with our wonderful energy and faculty of imagination, just send out love. Send out love, perhaps to people you know from Unity Athens or from other aspects of your life. Send out love to the world. Send out love. Send out love. Yes. Send out love. We do have some announcements today. Yay, announcements. Next Sunday, the 21st of June, is both Father's Day and Summer Solstice. We will have a slideshow of fathers and father figures and people in our life that could be another gender than male that have been a fatherly influence toward us. And what is a fatherly influence? Well, that's so many things, but it's what's in our hearts. So if you would like your photo of your father figure or father in form included in that slideshow, just email it to us at unityathens@gmail.com. Also, if you have some pictures of the summer solstice that you would like to send in, we might be able to include those also in the slideshow. Thank you for considering that. The t-shirts are coming. The t-shirts are coming. Kevin, we should have a photo, if you can pull it up for the screen, of our wonderful t-shirts that have been in process for quite a while now. A number of different people have worked on getting this together. They're sort of a navy color, and we'll have them in different sizes, but that's the general look, and we'll have details pretty soon on our website and how to order by a PayPal or with check. They're quite reasonable. I believe the regular t-shirt's about $15, but the board needs to correct me in case I'm wrong. Because yes, often and sometimes and pretty frequently I can be incorrect about things. I love this Bible quote from Zephaniah 3:17. Have you read Zephaniah lately? Well, this is 3:17. The Lord thy God in the midst of thee is mighty. God will save. God will rejoice over thee with joy. God will rest in its love. God will joy over thee with singing. God will joy over you with singing. Will rejoice over you with joy. How powerful is that? So that is the end of the announcements. Yay, end of announcements. And we will prepare for this time of meditation. As we begin to quiet our minds, focus on peace and love. I'll play some gentle music. Kevin will dim the lights. Thank you, Kevin, for being here all of these 11 Sundays. And as we begin to prepare for that, I do want to add one more announcement that the board met this week, and we do not have any plans for a definite opening date at this point for opening our doors. However, we will be sending out a survey in the next couple of weeks to see how you might be feeling, of how long you would prefer to stay at home. We will continue to do the live streaming even once our doors open again, but we may have some different protocols for a while, and we'll talk about that later on how we can move through this time of the appearance of illness in our lives and in our world, because we're healthy and we're full of God's stuff. And as we go into meditation, let's know that. I'll play some soft music by Deuter called Reiki Healing. You take some deep breaths and then let them go. Focus on the altar area, perhaps, if you will, for now. The gentle Om. Taking deep breaths and then letting them go. Relaxing into the stillness, into the quiet. Letting go. We put aside any thoughts of lack or limitation or not enough or fear or worry. We sweep them aside, we put them aside, we release them as we focus on the consciousness of God within, not only ourselves, but in all. And we breathe and we let go. Feel that peace, that path of understanding, wrapping you in the comfort and the knowledge that all is truly well, that life is eternal, that consciousness is God-given. That peace is self-given. And we allow the music to take us deeper and quieter. While lifting up our thoughts. Into the unconditional love of Spirit. Into the liquidity of God's love. into the knowing of our worthiness of that love. Perhaps, as Emily Cady suggested in her book, Lessons in Truth, to just quietly repeat over and over again, in the heart and in the soul, God loves me. God loves me. God loves me. As we rest in that knowledge and in the silence of love. And we breathe, so grateful, so thankful for this time of quiet reflection. Of that peace we can always find in our hearts and in our minds. And especially in our spirit. Opening our eyes when we're ready and gently bringing ourselves back to the moment. With a breath, or a sigh. Thank you for joining in that time of meditation together. This is from Jim Blake, who is the CEO of Unity World Headquarters. That includes Unity Village, the Daily Word, the publication Heart of Unity. Deep within each of us is the animating energy of the universe. It is the divine intelligence that informs the seasons, the solar system, and all of nature. When we can still the mind, we create a container to become aware of and connect with this unlimited life force and intelligence. We become a container to become aware of and to connect with that unlimited life force and intelligence. Wow, thank you, Jim Blake. If you like to follow people on Facebook, he is a very good choice. It's interesting that something popped up in a post in the last few days about Faith Keeper and the indigenous peoples tradition, and I went, oh, that is so awesome. I think I've heard that particular text before, but I don't remember where. And then I was looking through some paperwork of mine, and I found a sheet about it. It's about a paragraph long, and I went, whoa, you know, this is great. I probably shared this with the congregation maybe 2 years ago. And then I looked again at the sheet, and on the top of it, it was entitled Notes for Sunday, March 29th, 2020. So I don't know what that says about my ability to retain dates and information, but I want to share this with you today because we can all be faith keepers, and we're going to be talking about imagination today, and the doorway to imagination, where it is, how to get there, how to access our imaginations more fully, and what we can use them for. And I think, for me, it includes this concept of being a faith keeper. And it says this: in the Native American tradition, one member of the tribe assumes the role of faith keeper. This person's role is to remain at peace, centered in spiritual vision, no matter what events might befall the tribe. Even if everyone else slips into pain, fear, or dissension, the faith keeper is the one person the group can rely on as a lifeline to the presence with a capital P. This is our role now. And if you ever want copies of anything we talk about here on Sundays, just email us again, UnityAthens@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to send it to you. So how can we be faith keepers? By remaining peaceful, by knowing and holding that truth that we teach here in Unity and so many faith systems, that God is wonderful and we are part of that. To be centered in that spiritual vision no matter what goes on in the world around us or in our closer circles. Can you take on that role? I think it would entail spending less time dealing on what is, or watching the news, or getting caught up in worry and doubt and fear. So maybe even for a little bit each day, if we all took a few moments to be a faith keeper, to remember that this is a spiritual experience, a spiritual journey that we are on, and we are in spiritual essence or bodies or whatever you choose to call this vehicle that carries spirit, our spirit, through the earth. To hold that principle of faith and love and peace, because as more and more of us hold it, it creates more peace and love and well-being out in the world. I truly believe that. So perhaps you'll just take a moment now and commit silently to the self, to yourself, or perhaps to someone else if there's someone else there with you, that you will practice being a faith keeper in the days and the weeks ahead. The other morning, I think about a week ago, I woke up to a story on WUGA radio, NPR. I like to have my clock radio wake me up to that sometimes, as long as it's not the news. I can be a faith keeper. And I heard the words doorway to imagination, and I went like, whoa, imagination, doorway, that's what we're talking about this month. It's our spiritual faculty for June. And this lovely story was relayed by Sarah McCammon, who is the host on All Things Considered. I'm going to paraphrase some of this, see if you can see it in your mind. She said this: "Okay, America, we see your sourdough starters." I know a bunch of people that have posted about their sourdough starters on Facebook. "And your Duolingo sessions and your new cross-stitch hobby, and we raise you one, a doorway to imagination. It seems like a person named David North built a door of imagination to imagination with his extra time during this time of social distancing." She says, "For now, just know it's amazing." His niece, who's named Kimberly Adams, is a correspondent for the public radio show Marketplace, and she's a friend of Sarah's, so she relayed this story to Sarah, especially during a week of very heavy seeming news. People loved the idea, it got going on Twitter. They loved the idea of this doorway and Uncle David himself. And there's actually 2 Uncle Davids, imagine that. He quickly racked up tens of thousands of followers. Sarah caught him on FaceTime and was able to interview him. During the interview, she said, because he lives in a rural area, kind of farmland, there were lots of roosters crowing in the background. David North said this: "The last couple of years have been extremely stressful for us due to some health issues that my husband has. He's doing good now. But dealing with the stress," he said, "he spent a lot of time outside with yard projects. He found some old wood behind one of their sheds, and for some reason," he says, "I thought, let me build myself a door." Have you said that recently? Let me build myself a door. "And it doesn't really open, but it looks like a door." Sarah said, "It looks almost like, something you've seen in a secret garden or such." And he laughed and said, "Yes." Sarah said, "And it's surrounded by all this kind of brambly wood and vines. It almost looks like brambly woods around it." David said, "Looks kind of surreal, the doorway being kind of dark draws you in. I didn't know it was going to end up being declared a piece of art. It's not an escape." This is one of the things that caught me. He said this: "It's not an escape, I believe it's a catharsis." Sarah asked him what the difference is between escape and catharsis, and he replied, "Catharsis is accepting the realities of the problems that happen in our lives and doing something constructive with it, processing it. I feel creativity is a way to process it in constructive, productive, positive ways." Wow. Sarah said, "So you're David and your husband's name is David?" David North laughed and said, "Yes." And Sarah said, "And I should note that you both have these big white fluffy beards." And your niece, Kimberly, shared that the 2 of you always wear matching outfits. Are you getting pictures of this now? And David North said, yes, for 30 years they've been wearing matching outfits. Sarah said, "I can see you." She was interviewing him on FaceTime. "So I know you are an interracial couple as well." "Yes," North said. Sarah, "And we, of course, are dealing at a moment of sort of reckoning with racial justice issues in this country. I'm curious what the conversations are that you're having right now as a couple." And he went on to explain they're feeling frustrated about the injustices. We have discussions about the challenges of what does white privilege mean. And it's not an argument, it's things that we can discuss because we love one another. And love has a way of dispelling fear. The work of love is more than just with the people we know, but even the people that we don't know, that we all deserve love. We all deserve respect. And he goes on to talk about a song he wrote called I Believe in the Humanity of Humanity, which I'm sure you can find if you Google or search for David North. This story had such a powerful impact on me, and right away I started imagining what this doorway, this gateway, this door in the brambles to imagination would look like. To me, it was full of sparkly things. It was unique and fabulous, and perhaps like a doorway in a castle, a little Harry Potterish perhaps, or Land of Wizardish. A doorway that had lights behind it, that as you began to open the door, you could step into this world of even greater imagination. So of course, I searched for a picture. And this is what we've got. Kevin, you want to move the camera? Okay, that is the doorway to imagination. And yes, I can see where thousands and thousands of people find that unique and inspiring, and people that walk by their property stop and gasp in awe. It's certainly not the sparkly, bubbly place I was thinking of, but it proves the point. Why? It proves the point because I can look at this and see it as a work of art. I can look at this and imagine the sparkly stuff, the castle gate, the moat, the wizardry, magic emanating from it, because that is what imagination does it not? And this is beautiful in itself. It's creative, and art is art, and I'm not in any way suggesting that this should be different. But what if we look at our world that way? And when we see things that seem like brambles, when we see things that look like we don't want to get too close to, that we use our imaginations to add the sparkle and the joy and the knowing that really everything turns out all right. Because that, to me, is the power of imagination. So thank you, David North, wherever you are, and your husband, David. Yes, we'll show this real quickly. I'm not sure if we've got it okay to show this, Kevin, so thank you, Kevin. Kevin's like prompting me with pictures, like, are you going to look over there or not yet, Bronte?
Okay, I'm back on you now.
So there's David North on the left, and his husband. Actually, I'm not sure which one's David North because it didn't say that on the photo, but I think David North's the one on the left. Awesome sauce. So imagination. Think about the things that are brambly in our lives and imagine them better. How do we do that? And if you don't feel like you have a lot of power to imagine some of these things I'm going to mention, we'll give you a technique on how to do it better. When dealing with the appearance of illness, pandemics, imagine people jumping up from sick beds, dancing out of the hospital, or sitting and listening as a doctor or medical person says to them, I don't know how, but it's gone. You are completely healthy. If you have trouble to imagine that you have the ability to imagine that. That is the power of imagination. I wrote this late last night. Imagine the eradication of that tiny piece of RNA that I prefer to call it who shall not be named, because names have power. Imagine the eradication of it. The eradication of it. And if that seems hard to imagine, imagine that it's not hard to imagine. Imagine people getting along in these days, finding understanding with each other, finding kindness, having heart-to-heart dialogues on how to make our society and our world a better place. And if that is hard to imagine, imagine that it's not hard to imagine. Imagine our economy strong, powerful, more than enough for everyone. And if that feels hard to imagine, imagine that you have the imagination to imagine that. And then, of course, last night I pulled a book off my shelf, dropped another one in the process. One of my favorites by Sanaya Roman, Personal Power Through Awareness. I'm just going to open this to a random page. Now note, this book is not written totally about imagination like the book by Neville last week. But I opened it to this page with a heading that says, "Your imagination is a most powerful energy sensing tool." Let me read this brief section. Another faculty you can use to sense energy is your imagination. You've been given an imagination to create things. Unbounded by belief structures, it is one of your most powerful energy sensing devices. As you imagine, so do you connect with higher and finer energies. Imagination is not bound by time and space. It is not bound by our physical bodies. When we make things up, we often do it with a sense of joy and play and a state of relaxation. This is a highly intuitive state. Imagination can also be used to create fear, worrying about things, or being afraid of catching someone's illness. But it is better to use our imagination to pretend that we know what action to take, or to create pictures of people loving us, or to imagine ourselves healthy and well. When we come from the higher energy of playfulness, when there is less heaviness or seriousness around the outcome, we are more accurate in what we sense. If you want to sense energy, sit quietly and pretend that you can. If you do not know how to do something, pretend that you do. For the subconscious does not know the difference between pretending and what is truly happening. As you sit, imagine that you do know what decisions you're going to make, that you do know the way forward. Use your abilities to draw in creative ideas and to imagine possible outcomes as tools for sensing energy and traveling into the future. Imagination, a powerful faculty. I had a small vision last night of a group of us meeting, perhaps in our cars, perhaps in a park, perhaps outside both of our hospitals here in town, and holding energy, seeing, healing energy and love and light coming out from us and blessing people in the hospital, all the medical workers. Prayer is powerful, and so is our energies. I can see us as a group or individually when we watch things on TV or see things that seem like unrest, to hold peace and love, not to gloss over that which should be corrected, but to find and imagine beautiful ways of things improving. The world is so much with us these days. Perhaps you're feeling that. In a time of being alone more. The world is so much with us. But we're powerful creators. That's what unity teaches. That's what New Thought teaches. That's what many faith systems teach. That's what the Bible teaches. And certainly that's what our way shower Jesus taught. These things and more. We are powerful creators. Know that. As you go out into this day and out into this world, as you process that which is coming to you, as you think about life and the people you care about, your city, your country, your world, know that your imagination, empowered by your faith, empowered by your divine order, empowered by the knowing that God loves you and everyone else. We see things always working out. Why? Because Source, God, the divine, the Creator, whatever you wish to call that, is powerful and beautiful and loving and supportive. And you are part of that. And so it is. Namaste. At our board meeting this week, the board also expresses its gratitude to the way our members and congregants and friends of UnityAthens are supporting and continuing to support us being here in this space and being able to do these technological advances, seeming way advanced for me, in these days and the weeks ahead. We thank you for your donations, your love offerings, your tithes. We see everything that we give out being blessed and returned to us multiplied abundantly. There are many ways to give. Perhaps you'd like to take a moment and donate now through PayPal or Easy Tithe. We also have the address up here if you'd like to send a check to support this ministry. The P.O. Box is UnityAthens at P.O. Box 1662, Athens, Georgia 30603. Some of us like to take our gifts or the thought of our gifts, hold them over our hearts, with a love offering blessing. Divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. We are so grateful. We are so blessed. You are so grateful. You are so blessed. And then thanking whatever name we call the divine. Thank you, God, infinite spirit, divine creator, all that is. Thank you, God. Kevin, I love Debbie Schroed's song, It's a Beautiful Day. We're not going to close yet, but I want to play this, and I would like us all to use this exercise with this music to imagine something you would like to see in the days or the week ahead as we sing It's a Beautiful Day. Picture yourself, as Kevin starts the music, in that joyous place of, wow, look what happened. Oh my goodness. Gosh, I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed. It's a beautiful day. Okay.
It's a beautiful day to be alive.
Picture that.
It's a beautiful day to be with you. Live my life abundantly. Feel the love.
Picture yourself healthy,
It's a beautiful
vibrant,
day.
whole.
It's a beautiful day.
Picture yourself abundantly blessed,
Together, there's no place I'd rather be.
in harmony and love,
We raise our vibrations, it's so
sending out love, receiving love.
there's a spirit of joy.
Picture yourself joyful, perhaps dancing with someone else.
Our voices
Picture yourself with the magic of glittery love stuff coming out from you and blessing our world.
alive. It's a beautiful day to be with.
Glittery love stuff, yes. I'm imagining that. I can hardly talk. It's so fun to picture glittery love stuff flowing out, touching others, blessing our world.
It's a beautiful day.
I'm picturing now news people on TV saying, gosh, there's nothing to talk about today except how wonderful everything is. Wow.
My heart is lifted high, and the worries of the world are far
Picture
It is He,
manna falling from heaven, blessing our world,
my chosen family, and we're all
healing,
united in unity.
loving, caring,
Beautiful day to be
seeing people, holding hands, hugging. Feel the energy of that, whether you have hugged someone in a while or not. Hugging and loving, smiling, laughing, singing. Feel that love. It is a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. We create that in our lives.
It's a beautiful day to be with you.
Thank you for doing that exercise together. Wow, I can feel the energy of that. Perhaps jot down what you would like to see in the days of the week ahead. We'd like to close out our service with our prayer of protection, written by James Dillett Freeman. In the midst of World War II. A copy of this is on the moon, put up there by, I believe it was Neil Armstrong, one of the astronauts. You can fact check me and correct me if you like. But I know it's on the moon. When I look up at the moon sometimes, especially when it's full and glowing, I feel this prayer that James Dillett Freeman wrote. I'll say it slowly. You can repeat after me if you'd like. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for being with us at Unity Athens this morning. Please leave a comment if you'd like. If this is your first visit with us, live streaming, please leave your name if you'd like so we can greet you and say hi. Send up a heart if you'd like. If you have any issues not being able to hear the audio clearly, this will be saved and it should be easier to hear later, and it should also be on our YouTube channel, Unity Athens TV, in the coming days. Let's greet each other and say, Have a wonderful day if you like, and we're going to play a closing song, I Send My Love, which we play often here at the end of our services at Unity Athens as we send our love out to the world. If you have a drum, this is a great thing to drum along with. Remember to send in your pictures for Father's Day service next Sunday. Let us know if you might be interested in a t-shirt, and we'll get the details to you. And remember, sparkly God stuff everywhere, and it flowing out of you and blessing our world. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send peace over the mountains. I send peace over the sea. I send peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountains. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. And it returns to me. And it returns
It returns to you. It returns to you. Namaste and blessings.